order. Everyone will stand for the pledge of allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to make my monthly apology. I'm on call for work, so if you see me on my phone, because of the call for my job. At this time, is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board? Please come and state your name and address.
My name is Robin Lewis. I live at 84 Hillside Street. I'm currently the interim president for the PTA at Forest. And some of our members had questions in regards to the playground. The first question was, how was the playground funded? And what, in particular, what portion of the PTA was the PTA responsible for?
Most of the money, about at least $100,000, is paid for out of state grant. To my knowledge, the remainder of the money, and I'm not sure what the total cost is, I know Ken is here, was fundraised through the PTA or the former PTA president. I don't know if it was a separate, I don't know if she set up a separate account from the PTA, but she was the PTA president at the time.
And so we received $100,000 from the state. That was the bulk of the money we spent. We received another $10,000 in fundraising. That money went to pay the engineer who engineered the drainage system and the bed that the playground went up. The city did about $10,000 worth of work, put in all the drains and do the sub-base work, and then the placement people came in, installed the playground for roughly $98,000 change.
Okay, so there's no more funds that the PTA is paid for?
No.
Because currently we were asked to pay $3,600 or send a check for $3,600 for flowers, some musical flowers for the playground.
So let's talk about that. So there was a suggestion that musical flowers would be added after the playground was built. This came up about a month ago. That was not an idea from the city or anybody from the Board of Ed. There's no requirement for that to do so.
So they're not, like, they weren't already paid, like, delivered?
No, well, not that I'm aware of. It was part of the original project.
I can tell you this, the Board of Ed has not authorized any funds nor have contracted with anyone.
Okay. And who is, like, is there a warranty on the playground?
The warranty is 1 year, which is standard by contract. We did have an issue with some of the rubber coming up, and we got that fixed for good.
Okay. And so in the future, even after the warranty, who's liable to fix those if any other problems arise?
That would be a Board of Ed maintenance project.
And if there is a problem with the playground, like with the divots, I'm not sure like who was contacted and how.
Your
So-
facilities manager, Chris Everall, anyone contact?
Yeah, we normally start probably more than likely with the building manager, the head custodian of the building, even notify our facilities department. We would send the maintenance crew out. If it looks like it's still something that could be covered under the warranty, we would contact the company that services.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Just general knowledge for in the future. The our PTAs raise a lot of funds for a lot of very good projects. However, once you donate them, they become more profitable.
Right, okay. Thank you so much.
Neil, if you want it flowers, contact the sustainability committee.
Is that again?
Sustainability.
Not those kinds of flowers.
Oh, yeah, not like,
Like
flowers from the house.
No, musical flowers.
No,
That's
but
what
it's
they are.
landscaping. Don't even do landscaping, you get them from that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I just want to say thank you for volunteering as a PTA president. That's where I got my start. So maybe in a few years we'll see you sitting up here.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else from the public who would like to address the board? For a second time, is there anyone else from the public that would like to address the board? For a third and final time, if there's anyone from the public that would like to address the board, now your hand. Seeing none, public portion is closed at 6:05. We will move to administration and status of school.
I've got one just very brief announcement or thank you, and then I'm going to turn it over to that and I will back on to their reports. I want to take a minute to thank the people at the Career Center. I get it started over the summer. Felt that we had lost touch with too many kids who graduated last year. As I told the board many times, we were very fortunate to graduate the number of seniors we have. I think the pandemic really made us aware that we've got to do better of tracking and assisting college-bound students as well as career-bound students. Help them with a career. The idea started over the summer, and I want to, I had the open house a couple of weeks ago, very successful. We had a small event on Friday, but I want to congratulate the council department, in particular, their cash mark and Holly Betty, who are overseeing and spearheading the development of the Career Center. I think there's a lot more good things taking place and a lot of things that will benefit not only our senior class, but kids who are sophomores and juniors who are looking for what their next move might be after graduating. It's been a really nice job. With that, I know several board members had asked in light of the investigation taking place in the city, and no, we are not involved, nor are there any funds from the Board of Ed that are part of the investigation which is taking place right now. But several of you have asked that we present a report. Nothing, by the way, that we haven't said we were going to spend the money on, we spent it on. Matt has a breakdown, which he put in front of you, to have him give a quick explanation, and I'll jump in with any other information that I can provide you. But I think you're going to find that we spent our money well. It's important that we make you aware of, obviously, that we are on track. And there are still a lot of monies that have not been allocated yet, particularly from the last round of funding. Matt, I just want to go over. And by the way, we're presenting you with a lot of information tonight. Hopefully, you can
Okay, so I put in front of you the 4 separate COVID relief grants that we've received to date. I did a full accounting of what the money is spent, it possibly will be spent in the last grant. And I've also included the budget and the budget narrative from our application process in the State Department of Education. Just know that any purchase, any salary, any payment to any vendor or employee is approved by the State Department of Ed first before we can go forward with anything that's done. So the first grant is the coronavirus relief grant. We received this first, it was a total of $1.2 million. A little under 200,000 of that was salaries. Over 100,000 went to the para-union bus monitors. Parents who ride the bus to and from school. Food service personnel, throughout the pandemic, we have to serve our breakfast and lunches differently. Instead of being in cafeteria, they went classroom with different meals. And then we also hired, not only hired, but some certified staff, additional duties, extra pays to assist with distance learning. We also had some contracted payments to improve our HVAC systems. The budget was $300,000. See $277,000 went to that mechanical, and a little over $22,000 went to quality and mechanical preparation. We also contracted more cleaning services with SMG. We've used them with those individuals to clean the high traffic areas, the schools and bathrooms. $15,000 for that. District-wide PPE. A lot of that was spent with ACES. ACES did a great job for all the surrounding towns. They used the purchasing power through bulk to get us really good discounts. A little over 300,000 for every piece of PPE that we we can need. It's spelled out in the later pages of the application before we actually purchase. And then some property, some technology enhancements. About 300 webcams through Amazon to help assist in the online learning. We programmed swivel sets. It's kind of a digital software where you use iPads, and it's actually something that moves around classrooms to help instruction. We've bought 12 of those. We bought 22 from youth boards. These were mainly for Bailey, and 63 document cameras that were issued throughout the school system. So that fund is spent to date. Spent fully to date, as you can see in the top line, we have to spend the money by December 30th of 2020. The second grant is the first ESSER funds. This grant is to be spent in full by September 30th of 2022. Out of this grant, it was a little over $2 million. So for salaries, $650,000 were 6th period classes, extra duties, substitute pay. It's just to ensure that there was a certified teacher in every classroom, regardless of what was happening during the pandemic. There was more bus monitor pay. We paid the COVID coordinator salary, not this grant. We also purchased quite a few instructional software programs, $1,000 worth of listing and the amount of money for each program. We hired CNA nurses to help with the tracing, some additional cleaning services, and additional security guards to help to assist in coming to school and try to make sure that it's orderly. Also in this grant, we had to allot for the private schools in our town. So $15,000 based on a calculation based on our Title I students. That's how they were able to get this $15,000 number. But that was sent to both St. Lawrence and Notre Dame, and they were able to buy some PPE with that. And then property, so improvement to grounds, spent $420,000. That was the budget. At the end of the year, at the end of this last school year, we purchased tents to assist in some outside learning. That was the line item. We did some paving at Set Rock, the Playscape. That's district funds. Castle Blues did some engineering of some projects for about $25,000. And then this project is still ongoing. The funds are encumbered. At this point, no money has been sent to the vendor, but Hinding Tennis will be building some outdoor space at a variety of schools.
Here and they've done they're gonna pave that area over at Forest School, they're gonna paint that area for us.
What we talked about before, we paid that preschool property. So we could do that in one week.
We talked about that. It was really difficult to get a paper over there. So the short answer is yes, but probably not. Yeah, it is. We're just not going to be able to get it done, nor can we get a contractor in there. Kind of the second half, the kindergarten area, we did the preschool area.
It's spring for that.
You said you were paying some.
Yeah, in fact, Hinding met with the teachers and Tom Hunt to see what they want to do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the third grant is the ESSER 2 funds, a little under $9 million. So there's some big amount of that grant is salaries. So the first line item, classroom teachers for 2 years, oversight on my part is 30 full-time teachers that will be on this grant for the next 2 years, $6 million over the course of the grant. We hire some aides and retired teachers to come back to assist in some small group learning to address learning loss. So this budget line item will be in place until September 2023 when the grant is ended. And then our summer school and engagement, contractual payments, $1 million. That's for our regular summer school that we have year after year, as well as all the camps and things that we did this summer. Marissa just told me this afternoon that there are some big mandates this coming up summer to have the same activities. So we have budgeted quite enough money to be able to do so. There's some more HVAC improvements and repairs under this grant, about $622,000 to date. We spent just under 140. Half enough mechanical, 70,000, and duct cleaning preparation, 66,000. This duct cleaning is an ongoing maintenance here. That was wishful thinking. School. We provided summer school, the transportation for all the students in summer school. Again, it'll be a 2-year process, so we spent just about half of that budget line item. And then we also contributed funds to Park and Rec to allow every child in the city to go to the day camp free of charge. We have enough money allocated to do so this coming up summer as well out of this grant.
Actually, a question, is that appropriate? No, sorry.
You can feel free to email any questions you want.
Okay, I'm fine.
And we'll be happy to answer them. You can stop up here and get my email after the meeting's over.
And then the final grant, the American Recovery Program, that's a 3 grant. $19.5 million. As of today, it has not been approved by the State Department of Education yet. It has nothing to do with our application. They have changed their approval process, so they're just going through that. Actually, I have a Zoom call tomorrow because they just added a new maintenance of effort qualification to the grant, which means we can't use this money to lower our local budget share of what we spend and provide for our students. We aren't, but we just have to go through that process and give them any paperwork just to prove so. So I'll learn about that tomorrow, and I hope by the end of the week we'll have this grant approved. So there's 43 teachers, new positions for the next three school years. We also have a brand new outreach team that will be paid for out of this grant for the next 3 years. And then hopefully as in September of 2024, we'll be able to move these individuals over to either the Alliance grant or a local budget based on the Alliance grant increases or just attrition people retiring and whatnot. For the next 3 years, we'll also be paying their health insurance benefits out of this grant. Again, we'll continue with the instructional programs that we purchased in the previous grant. We'll continue to do so. Superintendent to determine which grants we're going forward with. We do that very regularly. There's $7 million in this grant for repairs and improvements to our school facilities. Some of the projects that we've talked about funding through this program is lecture hall at high school, the repairs to the pool, auditorium upgrades for Bailey and Kerrigan, Bailey cafeteria upgrade, the modular classrooms at Bailey, which are, I don't know if they're in use yet, but they're pretty close. And then some additional outdoor courts / play areas at multiple schools. We're also continuing with the multiple security guards at our elementary schools and being funded through this grant. We're also giving each school, or the total budget for each school is $1 million over and above what we contribute out of our local budget for supplies and whatever the schools and principals think is necessary to continue education. And then some additional money to continue our summer programs. And then on the property line item, which is we're able to outfit every classroom in the district with a Promethean board. So every classroom, every learning space, everything will have a Promethean board. I just talked to our IT department. They are actually stuck on a ship in the Pacific. but they are expecting them to be unloaded. They're hoping by the end of next week, they're now going to be shipped directly to here, to us, and we have, through this $2 million spend, we have a company that's going to come in and install them after school, on third shift. They say that it takes, it'll be a 2-week process to have every single one installed. So hopefully, you know, it's 2 weeks to a month that every classroom will have a keyboard. And then we're also purchasing laptops for the staff, especially in elementary schools, and to be able to use the keyboard as a technology given. And is all the breakdown of all 4 grants. Questions?
Thank you for being so comprehensive.
It was a last minute, but I thought.
How about any of the salary employees who are on our staff? Do they receive any additional compensation salaries?
I think, well, let me say, with the exception of maybe some
Contractual,
they get for an extra class,
Right.
because we need to cover kids on.
nothing above what contractually is.
Right, so your salary employee receive no additional.
No.
Well, our schools will.
Right.
Excuse me. Is there any Oh, sorry.
Okay, that's. I apologize for that. Let me repeat what I said. So regarding the COVID funds, $1.2 million, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. You are a salary employee, you are a finance director, schools will know about the course of the year. Did you receive any additional monies on your pay besides your salary?
No.
The superintendent?
No.
Assistant superintendent?
No.
Any other or salary employees receive any additional compensation from this pandemic?
Nothing above what a union contract would call for.
Also, schools are open throughout this whole pandemic.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know you went above and beyond your duties, what the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and our salary staff. And I appreciate all you have done throughout the pandemic. Citizen of West Haven, thank you very much. Also, one quick question I have to ESS New York grant. Talked about the duct cleaning services. How long that's going to last for? How long is an idea?
I think it's going to continue for as long as there's money available. It's definitely necessary preventive maintenance. So as long as we can afford it, and even when these grants run out, we do have a maintenance budget that will continue the program.
You know, I said throughout this pandemic, school, stuff like that, and points for that. Obviously, we needed pressure to go in there. Lots of things that nature.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we heard, and it's definitely something that we'll figure out to make sure that it continues on an ongoing basis.
Overall, so the teachers appreciate it. In other words, most of the issues that they brought up, we addressed, including duct cleaning, some of the other things, high touch years. You know, you saw a big difference from the beginning of the 2020 school year to where we are now. Operation and just a better feel about this.
Talk about receiving additional compensation for your work from this pandemic.
That's just a clarification, because on the CARES Act page, there it says 6 period classes, extra duties. $650,000.
That's all defined by the contract, so.
So they did, so if they
It's,
performed
so,
activities. they-
yeah, so the teacher, by contract, the teacher is only supposed to teach 5 classes. If we need to open up an additional section and they teach a 6th class, per contract, they receive a payment. It's about $9,800 per 6th period class. Obviously, because we need to keep the class sizes down and less high areas. So there were some additional 6th period classes.
That also includes lunch duty over at the end of the elementary school.
Not out of the grant
What we've done is, the elementary school teachers normally don't do lunch duty. Called lunch aids. What we've done, because we thought last year it was so orderly, we were able to negotiate with the youth. Teachers for lunch period, oversee the cafeteria. You know, make sure the food has.
So they were able to receive like a stipend pay or something like that?
Just like the 6.
Okay, okay.
And then some other activities, private high school, so this happen at all the other schools. You know, if a teacher isn't in and they can't find a sub, if the teacher covers a class on their free period, by contract, they get $30 per class coverage. So, you know, the $650,000 does seem like a pretty big number. It's money well spent.
Oh, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure that we were compensating them for that.
Yeah.
That's just a question, looking at this list, obviously, lecture hall, we can work around it. I know you said this is not been approved yet, but it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, so the only issue I have been going back and forth with our representative, the person we work with up at the state who approves the grant. The only reason it's not been approved yet is because they changed their approval process. So they just have to do the due diligence by going through every single town and making sure everybody's doing things correct. But we've been having an ongoing conversation with them, and our grant is in very good shape. And as soon as they're ready to hit the approval button, they will.
Add to that, are we being premature with the new business approval tonight? If you're not sure about the funds?
I personally don't think so, because the funds are ours, they're allocated to us. The only thing that should be debated is how we spend the money on it, but the state has had no issues with our.
So it's been approved by the state.
Yeah.
Putting the cart before the horse here.
Well,
So the approval standards haven't changed, just the process in which it becomes.
Yes,
let me
Yes.
also,
So it still meets the standard.
correct.
let me say this, that was a big concern of mine. And before we decided to move forward with it, I insisted that Ken and representatives from Gilbane have that conversation with those from the Department of Administrative Services. And they saw no issue with us putting an addition onto the high school. One of the things that I was very worried about, not very worried about, but needed to question that needed to be answered was, if we were to go ahead and do an addition to the high school, so early in the process before the actual construction was done, would we run the risk of a penalty? The answer is yes.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Matt.
Maybe-
I really appreciate you putting that together so that
Absolutely.
from my request.
Okay, we know you guys were getting questions. We knew it was important to get you some answers. And again, don't feel as though you need to understand everything from that. Feel that it comes up and you say, you need to mention it. Okay, Ken?
the screen for you, so you can look at it as well. So back in 2009, we received a grant from the high school. And the single most requested for staff was a unanimous decision that we need an election hall. Election hall that could be housed 4 classes, that could be used for instruction, that could be used for other things. And unfortunately, it was DE on the project early on because of the expense. We now have an opportunity to put it back in. We looked at the best place to put it. We did a lot of research about access, things like that. And it turns out that building lecture hall, where the old auditorium was, right off the E-wing, makes the most sense. That's where you come in from Kelsey, and you have the adult entrance. We're now looking at a very large structure, which is the lecture hall. In fact, we're looking at 120 seats, 115 regular seats, and 5 ADA seats. We're looking at 3,800 square foot structure. That will include the lecture hall, the vestibule, the lobby, a men's and women's restroom in the new structure, as well as some storage space. The design is 2 levels, and you can access those levels from the existing school. In doing that, it actually increases our ability to evacuate the school in the event of a fire alarm. Instead of using furniture to create the cascading effect, we're actually doing a structure. All the seats will be the same height. It doesn't go up on a slope based on how to build this thing. We're looking at state-of-the-art AV package, which includes a projector with a screen, touchscreen, wireless connections everywhere, cameras, wireless microphone, the ability to plug a computer in, remote lighting control, sound speakers, sound surround, Wi-Fi, a lectern, a TV in the lobby that can connect to everything happening in the main school. And it's important to talk about that this was Pam Gardner's dream. This is what she wanted. Okay, and the last time I spoke to her, this was mentioned. So it's been a goal of a lot of people here to try and make this happen, and I think we're close to doing it. We're looking at a drinking fountain and a bottle filler in the lecture hall. We're looking at the ability to enter the lecture hall from 2 access points from the first and second floor from the school, and then again from outside. Terrazzo flooring, and basically we're creating this design, taking our existing auditorium, those finishes, the terrazzo that we have in the foyer, and sort of putting it in a smaller space, and that becomes a lecture hall. So a lot of the finishes would actually match. There are some challenges. The first and most important challenge is getting permission from the state. And as the superintendent just mentioned, we did receive permission from the state. They said we could build this lecture hall and we will not penalize you financially. Okay. The second challenge is steel. Right now, if you put an order for steel, literally it doesn't show up until June. That being said, the architects are redesigning this thing to use less steel, different configuration of steel, and we're shopping for steel right now to see how long that will take. The goal is to deliver a full set of plans at the beginning of November. At the end of November, we'll have pricing on this. I have to go before the city council and get a bid waiver from Neil Bain to be the CM. That'd be the best option since they built the school where everything is. And then the goal will be to finish this thing before Neil Bain leaves the site, which is next June. That's the goal. But like I said, there are some challenges with materials. I asked Dave Stone to come tonight for a detailed explanation of the building structure. We'll hand it over to Dave right now.
Perfect, thanks, Ken. David Stone with Anthony Associates, for the school we're sitting in right now. How's it working out? Thanks. I'm going to show you a plan because everything starts with a good plan. I think you can see, if you take a look on the left-hand side of the sheet, this is the, actually, let's start with the right-hand side of the sheet. Right-hand side of the sheet, you see a little small tiny plant down in the corner, with a little red piece sticking out. That floor plan is the plan of your school as it exists. Well, in about 3 more months, it'll look like that, but pretty much like that now. We're in the section known as G. You see my cursor, it's in this area right here, and on this plan, it's in this location right here. The cafeteria and kitchen area. We're looking to go down the hall and be there in the school. We chose this area for a bunch of different reasons. One, it's a common area. It's an intersection of 2 major hallways. It has a main entrance at the north end, as Ken was saying. The east side is kind of saying where the adult entrance is. And we look at that also for 5 level of access. 5 level being both the ground floor and the second floor. We're doing this for handicap purposes. And it also connects the school, I think, multi-level layers to this project. It's fantastic. What Ken mentioned before, there was concern ran this by the building department and the fire department already. And one of the concerns, existing concerns, was the egress, or in case of a fire, how do we get out of this building? What Ken said is, on the second floor, where we do have some special needs students, what we've actually incorporated now is an exit through this area here, which takes it to a ramp that goes directly outside. We've actually, this is above and beyond code requirements, and it actually vastly improves your egress situation and your handicap accessibility situation. So looking at it from the first floor, you can see that you enter. There's some double doors here at the bottom. And you enter this foyer space. It's a 2-story foyer space. You walk underneath the staircase. You see a large brick wall with a television on it. Ken said that you enter the lecture hall through these double doors. And as Ken said, the auditorium of the lecture hall is actually tiered, so it steps up as you go up. Seating 120 students, 15 typical seats and 5 handicap accessible seats. We also have the up these stairs as you go across. As you see the second floor, you can up these stairs or go across and come to a little landing. And this landing will take you to a ramp that will actually enter into the lecture hall from the top part. So now the students coming into the second floor could just wheel down on their own. I think that there's an opportunity here for entrance that will be presented here. It's the hockey rink for those events coming in. Eventually, this time next year, we'll be holding this meeting in this actual hall itself. Looking at the second floor, we provide access to this quarter intersection. This is the quarter east-west and south orientation with the stairs that go directly to the adult end entrance. Seats are broken into 3 clusters of 3 with 2 main aisles. This gives you some intimacy as well as better function and circulation within the space. The lecture hall, the lecture itself is oriented to this area here. This area here, the center focal point, your large desk for the lectern, has all the control pieces. We can control everything from this Starship Enterprise bridge. We can turn lights on. I can turn the volume up and down, control it. I can write on a screen, it'll appear. Basically, a median board we talked about before, built into the desk and it will project onto your screen. Let's take a look what it looks like. This is inside. As mentioned earlier, it's our goal to minimize Chris Everell's job. And we use a lot of the same finishes here. So we can have stock. If this tile goes bad, it's the same tile we're using in other parts of the school. We're using terrazzo flooring, and this picture here is a picture at the stair, looking at that display board Ken mentioned, looking into this entry. We're actually standing in a 2-story lobby space. Now these lights, it's the same lights that I have in the aisles of the auditorium. Flooring is the same flooring I have in the main entrance. The brick is the same brick I have everywhere else, but it's used a little bit different. I also, here's a picture of the inside of the lecture hall, but this is a unique picture. You have a picture on the handout that, that was it. If you have a picture of the handout that Ken gave you, and that handout shows a picture of the auditorium, the bottom of the lecture hall looking up. This here is a picture of a ramp looking down to the presenter, right? That's perspective. The final picture Ken had already shown are the exterior pictures. Top picture here being a shot from the, as you first enter Circle Street, where the old auditorium was. You can see how this now sits at an angle to everything else on the building. You look at these key plans. See how these plans here, everything is kind of east and west, and north and south. We've taken this building and painted it a little bit, to make it a little bit different and a little bit more special. It's a pretty special space. It's not a typical classroom space. It's not a typical auditorium space. It's something in between. So we've changed that, addressed that. It also gives you focal interest as you come into the site. You do see a little bit of an angle. It doesn't tip down over the grade a little bit. And then the bottom picture I have here is a picture. If you're in that parking lot and look off to the side, a little switchback stair. Switchback ramp for that accessibility. I have a stair. I have a spot potentially for a tree, maybe a dedication tree or something that we can plant. We have a couple of dedication trees on property, but it's a little gathering spot and really a little more formal entry. And it actually relates directly across the street, across the parking lot to the entry we have here to your monumental stair. So that's what I have. If you have any questions, I'm going to try to answer.
I just want to say thank you so much. This has been a priority of mine since being elected as chair of the board of ed. Kim Gardner was not only a colleague, but a friend for 35 years, and I can think of no greater legacy other than her two beautiful children for us to have here in West Haven in her honor. And she is, well, she's not her legacy, she's her partner. So I can think of no greater honor to Pam than to have this amazing lecture hall that she would have absolutely loved. So I thank you very much.
I'm actually saying that I don't offer any construction criticism. The only thing is we've been told on more than one occasion that the school is already too small. And if we're able to spend money on lecture hall, we get more money for classrooms that we actually really seriously need for the 300 people that are.
So we have 6 additional classrooms coming online, which will increase the school substantially. They're being built now. If we want classrooms beyond that, we have to go back to the state. We have to go through a 2-year cycle. We don't know if we'll get approved. If we are approved, we will have at least a year and a half to design and construction. That's the way it is. Originally, they were going to build this school at 1,425 students. The superintendent went into negotiations with the state, got up to 1,568, I think it was. And that's what we do with the funds in the act.
How many seats do those 6 classrooms have?
30 kids per classroom.
That's a pretty easy.
Don't forget, we added early on, not only we had the 6 classrooms, but that column behind you is the extension of this cafeteria. Everybody on this side of the column is sitting outside right now. We need to get this 2,500 square feet added. And with that, we're able to bring the culinary class into the cafeteria, and that freed up classroom space in the cafeteria. So we maximize the space the best we can.
And this is 120 seats in addition to the.
Correct.
So you're looking at a total of in the 6 classrooms, lecture hall, 300 seats.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, a combination of questions, some of Ken and some of the superintendent. Had a similar response with Ian. Didn't know if we were in a better position with 4 to 6 classrooms. First, the lecture hall, we want to make sure we keep our numbers down. The second question is, do we have to go with educational specs to be approved for this? Or is it?
No, the state is out of this completely. We do have to meet all the various building codes, fire codes, that sort of stuff. And we have to stay consistent with the construction of this building, but we do not have to get certain users.
And then will there be a city share beyond what we're seeing in this grant? Or
No.
then the last one is, what are we gonna lose for parking spaces, day-to-day usage?
None. We're building a gas station.
Most spaces for the next, nothing else.
So keep in mind, we were able to add 30 parking spaces in our original plan. We have additional parking goal in flat.
Just for those people that were parking on the grass.
I just want to say,
Oh, sorry.
just real quick, I just want to say, when I was on, I released out to the building committee when we first talked about this. And then I started to come to fruition. I was just blown away by the pictures. I was wondering if I had to do that. Great job. So, thank you.
We're excited to do it.
But I think it was a late rebuttal. You guys are-
Emphasis on the love rather than the weight.
Yeah. It's great. We have to see. So not just, you said, this is an additional, grant for the actions out, or.
That is the bill, it's coming out of the code.
Okay, I'll get it. Okay, and when you start with the cost, it's a
We
good
put
cost.
wall in, build those, build bid, 2.2.
So, question two, like, talk about having less steel on the project or something like that. That concerns me a little bit, the structure of the building itself.
I probably use fortress or reason.
Like, it might help out. So originally, a building like this, it would stand like this, you would typically use an open web prefabricated truss. Those trusses are approximately 12 to 14 month lead time, right? That's what we use. We've decided to take that, work with the construction manager and our structural engineer to do, it's called, roll form steel, which is a W-plan shape. Stop item. So we've taken that 14-month lead time, and we've changed it down to about 4 to 6 months. So it's the same structure, it's equally safe, a little less conventional, but it's a shorter lead time for the
It keeps the snow road, passes code, which
no engineer would stamp this, what I say.
No, I
We're
know
doing
that.
it simply, it's atypical construction for a situation, you know, specifically with lead times.
Just like, concern of durability down the road, stuff like that, just.
Zero issue. It's the way it was built 100 years before, and those buildings are still up. It's the way this building is built, actually.
That's a question that you saying that exactly any parking spaces whatsoever.
We said it has to be done by June, and the steel will be done till April, so you have to get it done in 2 months.
No, what we're saying is that we want to get this done in the June, like the base, so on site. We have not procured the steel. So that was one of the challenges I mentioned. We have to get the steel at a reasonable time. Get the zoning, get through the wetlands, so we have some challenges in this. It doesn't just go up, but the steel is a conservative.
And we've been working parallel with the construction manager to double check our design every step of the way, to make sure that we're not procuring items that have longer lead time items. And with that, there are 3 or 4 finishes that were swapped out because of lead time issues. And with that, we think we're pretty confident that the construction schedule will be in line with Gilbane's timeline for maximum development.
But anything can happen. We're, at the very beginning stage of this. Our hope is to get them in June, but maybe not.
What happens, doesn't happen, time schedule. How much is it?
Yeah, so worst case scenario, if you don't get this thing out of the ground by the end of June, the bill, you will pay extra fees to construction. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, so the way it works is with the CM, it's a little bit project. For a very small fee, they go out with all the bids out the bid. The bids come in, the building committee approves the lowest, most responsible bidder. And the CM staffs the job with 2 or 3 people. probably $30,000-$40,000. We go beyond June. What's that, say it again?
You do have to fund to pay the fee.
We do, yes, that's correct. Well, listen, I think we heard some numbers of 19-something million dollars, and I'm sure we can find money, another 80,000 to go beyond June. Our goal is to build this thing by June, that suits everybody best. There are a lot of challenges. There's not a person in this room that hasn't been affected by supply chain issues. We've been able to work through the finishing of this project through COVID without any extra expenses. I hope you're safe for it.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah. All right, so then run through, I didn't prepare much here, so I'm going to run through very quickly, but one school at a time. Start with McCrill, we do have funding for a playground. I got the plans emailed to me this morning, and I sent them up to the superintendent. They're talking a playground at the front of McCrill, which is going to be on a rubber floor, if you will, rubber field, and a very nice playground fenced in. Moving on to Kerrigan, we have a bid going out for auditorium to bring it up to the 21st century, which includes lighting and sound. Our garage, which has been heavily affected by supply chain issues, is just about done. They added 2 bays, oversized bays for us to park our trucks and the sand, that kind of stuff. We haven't had a chance to look at that, it's a beautiful garage. We have solar going on Kerrigan right now, and we're able to replace the second floor hallways with a very nice colorful tile that's color coordinated for class. Got a lot of good response from teachers on that. And as you may remember, we also had the lighting placed there, which made a big difference. Moving on to Haley, we've got all the lights going in Haley almost done. We have a playground going in at Haley. That playground will be over the old playground was. Again, a rubber base playground. And then in the paved area between the playground and the back of the school, we're looking at repainting a section for the tennis courts and then painting those courts so that it's more useful and safe. Yes.
How to play basketball there, and then the area for the special activities. But not tennis.
Yes, that's what it said.
You said tennis.
We have tennis courts in the Forest, the lights are installed and they're a huge difference. I was over there a couple weeks ago, the principal, he could not believe the difference in the lights. So not only do we have older lights in that school, they're all consistent, but their electricity bill has dropped considerably. It did cost us that. We did paint one area, and we have hired some artists to go in and paint games on that paint area for the students. And we're looking at the other areas sometime in the spring. Bailey is probably the most active construction site we have right now besides the high school. Number one, we have the modules going in. So the 4 sections of modules have been delivered. They're working on the foundation as we speak. We have electricians going in to power these things. And we're doing everything we can to get it in the next 3 weeks for those classrooms. There'll be 4 additional classrooms, fully air conditioned, heated, oversized classrooms. And I looked at those modular buildings. They're much nicer than anything we've seen in the past. We have a stucco finish on the outside. We have rubber roofing. We have very nice finishes on the inside. I think we're very happy with those. The roof of Bailey is complete. We're not closing it out with the state. We are looking at an addition on the cafeteria, just design-wise, conceptually, nothing set in stone yet. That would add a section to the cafeteria, and we'd also be able to air condition the cafeteria if that goes through. We also have ports going in at the. So once the modules are installed, we have a very large place going in, which has some pickleball, as well as basketball.
Yeah, other activities. You know, my goal was to just make a big playground area so the phys ed teachers would have an extra classroom.
160 feet by 92%. We also have solar going on there. That's 100% done. So Bailey's very active. Savin Rock, We had new lights put in, those are very successful. We are finishing the package, the RFP for HVAC. Those units are the original units in the school. There are 7 of them. We have enough funds from the city through the bonding process to replace 2, and the other 5 will see if there's what we need for that. They'd be more efficient, much better system than we have right now. Beloy, which is not an active school, but that's getting solar on the roof now as we speak. We have a solar field going in behind Beloy in addition to what's going on the roof. And that would actually give money back to the city for that solar field visit. Washington, we had 9 companies respond to the RFP, the construction manager. That included Divio, Fusco, Downs, Pre, Morganti, Gilbane, Shawmut, Newfield, ONG. Every one of these companies is capable of building in Washington. The only guy that's missing is Turner, so we've got 95% of companies that do the job have issued their RFP. We're going to be narrowing that down to 4 companies at the end of this week. We ask them all for a price, and we'll take it from there. Next, I've got the high school, just very quickly. You may have noticed there's a canopy now along the cafeteria. So when your employees come out to the loading dock, they're protected from the rain and the snow. At that end, we also have our guard check. That's very nice. And I'm working closely with the site guys to get all of our new drainage system. And we think the drainage system come in close to $300,000. Okay. However, we had that money in contingency. Okay, we're still running about 1.2 million contingency on our end, and another 1.2 million remain. So we have the funds, but in going through all of the subcontractors' agreements, they were holding allowances for work, temporary heat, and other things they never used. We managed to get a $300,000 credit last week. So we are flush with cash at this point. That's everything. Question?
So the same type of contract with PLA that have right now with the high school.
I haven't heard of the PLA from Washington. That'd be something the mayor would have to do. They're telling me that on a $31 million construction site, the PLA is not as important as it is in $130 million. I don't know if it's however, we will see prevailing wage, we'll see Davis Bacon, we'll see all union guys. And the list of companies I just read to you, they attract those better union guys that do this work. A project labor agreement? Yes. So what it does is it says that 100% of the project has to be unionized. Now, the advantage of that is you get very skilled labor. You get very skilled labor here, in construction. The disadvantage is you get down to some of the smaller items. It's very difficult to go out and get a slab of granite under a union contract. It's difficult to buy something at FF&E under a union contract. So those are the pros and cons that we've seen. Furniture, fixtures, and
Sorry. Who were talking?
Sure. Yeah, so we put a claim in to the city insurance company. And Jim, I don't remember the number. I should remember, but it was probably $200,000. I got a bill from AIR, who did all the mediation work. I think they were 22,000. That would be insurance as well. It turns out that both courts are playable. The 2 large gyms, the small all-purpose gym is completely shot. But we're putting in for about 4,000 square feet of new flooring. And we would not allow them to consider matching the finish, we're sanding all, we're sanding all the floors. And so we get a brand new floor out of this that looked like it was the day it was built.
They covered all by the insurance.
That's what I'm told, yes. But the insurance guy, he said it looks good, he submitted a letter yet, but I think it's all, yeah, there's a deductible, but, you know.
Back to the ranges, you know, stuff like that. Shop glasses.
No, I don't think so. We have issues with shot glass, or what?
Some did come in, but the auto shop has a floor drain, so everything went down there. I wasn't aware of anything in the wood shop though. So I'm talking to the teacher.
There's no sustained damage over there. There was no sustained damage over there.
That did come in. Yeah, so I mean,
Well, that's part of our drainage thing. We have a major issue with water coming down the hill. Where a lot of our money, of that, you know, almost 300,000 is going towards that. We have an issue over here, which is a result of the retention pond not being finished. So it's an easy one to fix. The biggest issue we have is in the courtyard. So unfortunately, when you get a historic rain, the overflow drains from the roof go right into the courtyard, and that's what seeps into our gym. So that's being fixed with a large swale, rediverting that water, they're pretty well in control. We're really doing overkill with this as well. Oh, yeah.
that situation taken care of. Except I know the shop, I was there myself, and I looked at it, and I'd see that day, it wasn't raining,
Yeah, yeah.
I could see water parts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we had a second rain event after Ida, where the water came up to the second stair of the loading dock by the shop. Okay, so what we're doing is with the use of curbs, additional drainage, opening up the street, we're eliminating the whole lot.
Glad to see that, very glad to see that. Also, I think back to cafeteria. Back to the cafeteria.
Yeah. Yeah, what we're doing is we're adding additional drains there, but that was mostly because the retention pond was filled. What we saw on the camera is this large retention pond was supposed to overflow to the marsh, and it didn't because of the emergency channels were not installed. So the wave of water came over, took out the cafeteria, took out by the loading dock, then the water came down the hill, that hit this water that overflowed around the corner. 80% of our problem was that retention pond wasn't finished.
Basically, I trust your judgment. That this will be taken care of. Once it's drained, is addressed, no problem.
I think Dave will agree, we're going over it.
100%. It's pretty important to say also, that the construction stuff, that you have three catch basins where the water goes into the hole. There's still lined with fabric that prevents dirt from getting in there. That's a construction object. They were told half capacity already during the storm that happened once every 500 years. So essentially, what I'd like to say is the construction wasn't complete. So you had a major event or project that wasn't complete. And we're remediating that. So,
Right, that was not in the original plan, so the drains were not.
well, the drains are there now, they just weren't open. We're adding even more than what's there now, and opening them up.
We had drains that were partially clogged by design during construction. Then we have banks with no grass on them, all mud, all that came down, clogged the drains. Our retention pond did not have emergency overflow. That water came across the street, took out the rink, took out the cafeteria, affected the shops. All of those issues would have gone away if the pond were open the way it was supposed to be. The only issue that would not have been solved would have been the courtyard, which is going to be solved with a very large swale. And the problem right now is with a temporary staircase over there for fire code. And we can't do the swale and the drainage until the staircase comes out. That's our problem. Can't move the staircase, the way we lose the wind.
So I want to make sure it's being.
Neil will tell you, I was
Everybody leaves.
Jim, I was on this thing like you wouldn't believe. I was here the next day. I was had the site people here, I had the engineers here, I had the insurance company here, I had the guys doing the remediation. I was really upset by what happened. I put 9 years into this thing, and it gets ruined by rainstorm. I couldn't believe it. So you know, we're doing overkill. And I'm hearing things like, Ken, you really don't need those extra drains, and put them in. That, I'm not kidding, you know, it's a little,
Said we have the money.
we do,
You know, we another 500-year storms right now to make sure that
we're not gonna drop water.
We're talking about, well, the drama storage. Had you gone to read in a lot of the schools, had you considered with all the drain, like if you're saying it's a central drain to the courtyard, had you considered like maybe cisterns to water the trees and things that you're planting?
We have underground water storage by code that collects the water and slowly recharges the groundwater. Our problem right now is the courtyard, historic rain takes up too much water. And we're gonna divert that out of the courtyard through, swale, rocks and drainage. We've done pretty well from a green standpoint. We've got solar everywhere. We met, I think it was bronze.
Yeah, Connecticut high performance standards.
We met it, we got the LED lights, we got energy efficient all over the place. You know, and I've said this before, but prior to this school being built, we were running about 700,000 a year on utilities, gas, water, electric. With air conditioning, we're at 325 right now. That's the difference.
I was just saying, you had all of the drain, you know, all the gutters or whatever, what you can put front inside of schools, gutters, like home gutters or whatever, but if it went into the cistern, if we use that water.
Yeah, the water capacity, there's so much water. That particular storm hit the ground so hard that just in the street, there's enough standing water to float a metal dumpster. It was floating in standing water because it came down so quick.
We don't have the, now the school's built, one of the problems we're faced with is doing this work, we're breaking into sidewalks, into asphalt. The designs you're talking about would have been thought of a long time ago. And we can't come through walls and things, you know, we're paying more because of it.
Oh, I'm talking about outside, a cistern.
Yeah, but we have the campers on the ground, we've got foundations in the way, we've got stairs in the way. You know, the goal right now is to drain the water away from the building. And we're gonna spend about $300,000 next year. Okay, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You know, if you didn't have anything else, I'd like to do that.
It's really good.
Thank you.
So I'm just gonna start with a recap of last. So last week we had our career center opening, where we had an EMS professional come in and talk to the students about their career and profession, and the students really seemed to like it. Our next speaker will be speaking about computer science on the 26th. Then we had our senior experience day on Wednesday of last week. In which the underclassmen took their PSAT successfully, and the seniors were involved in various workshops, including the FAFSA workshop, Common App workshop, as well as the dealing with college application stress workshop conducted by the social workers at our school. Something new that was happening last week is the contact council that had a pep rally Friday morning to hype students up for the Peak Out football game. The football game actually beat Foreign by 53-0. West Haven High School is now also a CIAC contact school. And the goal of contact council is basically to spread sportsmanship and equity throughout the West Haven High School athletic community. Some sportsmanship actions that they've done so far is handing out water bottles at every home sport to all the officials. They've also awarded a new class act award to Alberto Moreno and their family. The mini pep rally on Friday morning was one of their activities that they did to hype up the students and get them more involved in West Haven High School athletics, like joining the football game and in the stands, as well as
supporting the football team, the cheerleaders, dance team, and the band. Now on to the Philippine Philharmonic Club, which will be holding their drives in the next few weeks. Next, we have some health-related stuff, which includes the dental band coming in every week from now on due to the high demand of dental hygiene. For some students, it was actually their first visit for a dental checkup, which is why they may actually increase their visits from now on. The clinicians through Bridges for grandparents can now refer students for behavioral health to clinicians. And that's about it for me. One more thing, I'm really happy to see you.
Good evening, everybody. So, last week Thursday, the biomedical innovations class did their presentations on the emergency rooms they came up with. Debbie and I are in the class, and we spent a really long time working on our emergency rooms to present to you guys. I know some members of the board were there, and also emergency medical services professionals from Seymour. They were there as well. So I know that was a good experience for everybody. And these emergency medical services professionals from Seymour are the same people that will be conducting the EMT program at our school early next year. The No Flu for the Blue initiative is restarting this week. Flu shots as well as COVID testing will be available all week to students. Parent-teacher consultations will be this Thursday in the morning and in the evening, and appointments can be made for in-person or through Zoom via Forest School. So senior nights are approaching. The girls soccer will be having their senior night tonight at 7:30, which is why unfortunately Hannah couldn't be here with us tonight. But she would like all of you guys to come up to her senior night. It starts at 7:30. And it's going to be at the school. The other senior night dates can be found on the West Haven Athletics football. The West Haven Athletics Facebook page, sorry. The National Honor Society will be hosting their annual field day fundraiser for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. This was supposed to be on the 22nd, but it got postponed to the 28th. And this will be at the school as well. West Haven's peer advocates are currently preparing for our Toys for Joy fundraiser. We're trying to get the gift cards and everything ready as fast as we can because of the toy shortage that's expected for this year. So we want to, get things ready so that the toys can be bought as soon as possible to make sure that, the kids get what they need this year. So that's all we have for you guys. Any questions for us?
Thank you, guys. I'm really glad to hear about the award to Alberto and how they do a great job.
Okay, well, thank you, guys.
Great. Board, I'll start this question. I know what it is.
This morning I did go out for my own jog this morning. I said to myself, I gotta mention again tonight, I was on the lights at my Bailey, and this afternoon I came home and I see the lights were blinking, so. Chris, thank you very much. I know it's a long process, but it's accomplished, and I just want to say thank you. And as I said, I just, for the safety of our students and our staff and stuff like that, people slow down, obviously, it's like 14 buses that go into Bailey every day. I get on myself, whatever. So it's really heavily traveled, in the mornings and heavily traveled in the afternoon. I just think there's like people where they got to slow down. Thank you for your efforts. I'm glad to see that.
Thanks for saying that, Dominic.
And years in the career when U.S. News and World Report has ranked number 25 out of 560. Hard work there. Good job. for approval of minutes. Any motion? Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. D2, 21-128. Entertain motion? Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. D4, new business, matter to approve funding for the construction and dedication of electrical at West Haven High School. I'll entertain a motion. From Kathy Bro. Second by Parker.
Could you just make that more specific, just so they have it on the record? More specific.
I would like to amend that to approve funding for construction and dedication of the Fillmore Gardner Memorial.
I will accept that motion, seconded by probably everybody sitting here. There's no votes in that. Any discussion?
Are we gonna have updated, like, you have like this? They said there was something we're waiting for.
Yeah, we'll, we periodically present it on whatever ongoing projects. We've got a lot going on, so yes.
I just want to say this, throughout the project, every time I talk to the electrical, every time we do a class, I got taken out. Every time she turned around, electrical, I got taken out. She would just go, okay, what's wrong? This is truly a wonderful trip. One is basketball, things that we can have, so I'm really happy to see it. Thank everyone for all their help. Dedication.
Agreed, wholeheartedly. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously with one abstention. The rest of the agenda is information, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor?